What's up, you guys? Joe Davi here, back at it again with another video for you. And besides the Road to Nationals videos, it's been quite a while since I've launched another Digimon TCG vid. As opposed to the deck profiles and gameplay videos that I typically do, I wanted to try my hand at a tier list. Yes, I have joined the tier list group of people. But I hope this one's a little bit more unique, and I hope this one's leaning more towards the fun side of things versus the super competitive side of things. But I hope it also opens your eyes when, or gives you a little bit more insight when it comes to judging how good some searcher cards will be. With relation to the Road to Nationals video, by the way, I just wanted to let you guys know that is not a video that I'm going to actively push in the Discord servers, in the local communities and stuff like that. That's something that you can follow if you wish. It's mainly like an open diary to myself, and just see my growth as a competitive player and as a player that really enjoys the game as I head to Nationals. So if that is something you want to keep up with, I'm not going to be able to post them as often. So just hit the notification button, the bell button, and give me a like and subscribe, and you'll be notified when these videos release. But this is all about the searcher tier list. So how do we really gauge how good searcher cards are? So this is like a nice exercise that I'm doing for myself, and I hope you guys take away from that. I have 4 criteria on how we will be rating how good search cards are. First things first, we'll go over how many cards are revealed, because the amount of cards that are revealed correlate to a percentage of your entire deck that you see, right? Like 5 cards is 10% of the deck you're actually able to see. And then you bottom deck a certain amount and you pick up a certain amount. And that leads into our second, which is how many cards can you pick up? Can you pick up 1 card? Can you pick up 2 cards? Is it an and? Is it an or? And that's ultimately going to affect how powerful the card is. In addition to that, we've got unique effects on one hand versus versatility on the other. So the uniqueness, the specificity of a certain search card versus how versatile it is. And one of the most versatile ones, as an example, would be the regular role promo memory boosts, because they let you grab any Digimon with a specific color, right? So any at all, which is really good. But the most unique ones would be very specific. For example, like Blaze Memory Boost, where you can only grab Blue Flare and only play Kiraha, that kind of thing. So just going over some of these metrics can kind of help you decide between memory boosts in specific decks that you want to play, for example. And the last criteria here is its impact and importance to the decks that they play. How important is this card? Is this a must play in the deck? Because if it is, we obviously want to see it. And if so, how many copies? How many copies does that deck does that card need in a deck to be more consistent and successful? So for example, Gatomon, you definitely need to run 4 Gatomon, at least if you're running Mastemon, in my opinion, and that ultimately leads to its impact and importance in the specific deck. So we're gonna just dive right into this here. So yeah. All right, you guys, so we're gonna start with Jerry. So well, someone from the community submitted D-Reaper cards, and I was like, why? Searcher is not necessarily a searcher card, it allows you to draw one. So they submitted the searcher, but I think they meant Jerry, so we're using Jerry. Jerry, for me, was a pretty good card, because if you didn't deal with her, you had problems, which means every turn you were able to use her main effect, which is to suspend Jerry to reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. In addition to that, you would actually place 1 ADR searcher underneath your Mother D-Reaper. And from this mechanism, you were able to really accelerate how many sources Mother D-Reaper had. And that led to multiple things, like reducing the play costs of your other D-Reaper creatures that you would be playing in the future turns, playing win condition cards like Gatekeeper and Reaper, Reaper being the main win condition card, and all those sources being removed would end up leading to Reaper being able to attack multiple times, right? Or being added to Reaper. But ADR Jerry in itself, as a whole, we're gonna go over the criteria. I'm gonna dive right into it really quickly. So Reveal 5 is very powerful in D-Reaper, because most players play it semi-aggressively early, but they have a lot of security issues that they put in their deck. They also have a lot of searchers, and they need to keep track of how many searchers they're cycling through, and they need to keep track of how many gatekeepers, if they've seen the Reaper, etc. All these different cards, and that leads to Jerry playing a more important role. So 5 cards, that's 10% of your deck that you will see, so you can make that calculation. If you see the ADR Jerry, that's immediately going to add to your Mother D-Reaper, which is super powerful. In addition to that, Jerry is a 5k DP Digimon. So not necessarily easy to swing over unless you are a level 5 or a red Digimon that's level 6. Sometimes other Digimon are also 6k DP that are level 4, but usually it's the level 5 that will get to swing over this. That said, not that easy to defeat or destroy when suspended, right? Unless another big thing is it doesn't have any level. So Jerry doesn't have a level. So as a purple player, Deathclaw was like out of the picture. Like I couldn't remove her that easily. I would have to swing over to delete the card, which means every turn you get to suspend and actually continuously add ADR searchers. So there was more value with time that you had Jerry on the board. So in terms of revealing cards, that's a 5 out of 5 for sure. In terms of being able to just, pick up cards, you're not necessarily picking up a card, but you can successfully take a card to facilitate your win condition directly, which I think is slightly better, though picking up multiple cards would have been nicer, etc. I can see why Jerry's effect is the way that it is. So she actually gets a pretty decent, I want to say like a 3 out of 5 for that. And in terms of unique versus versatility, this is 100% a unique searcher. It is not versatile. You can't play it in 95% of other decks that exist out there. So only in D-Reaper mainly is where you'll get to play Jerry. And as a result of that, it's basically a 0 in terms of versatility, but a 5 in terms of uniqueness. So there's really no metric there. Just wanted to show you like how unique versus how versatile a card can be. And its impact and importance to the specific deck that they play. Well, it only plays in the D-Reaper deck, but it is significant, very, very significant. So in terms of that uniqueness, that strictly D-Reaper, and how important and impactful this card is in that D-Reaper deck, I would actually put this at 5 Dobbies naturally, because you're seeing the most. You're immediately facilitating your win condition through ADR Searcher, through its effect. And it's a hard Digimon to remove off the board, which means the longer you leave Jerry out, the more value you get. But because it's also strictly unique, it is not versatile. So because it's not versatile, it can't be applied to as many decks. With that said, I would probably put Searcher, just because of how good this card is in the D-Reaper deck specifically, at 4 Dobbies. So at 4 Dobbies, you gotta play 4 Jerrys. 4 Dobbies, play 4 Jerrys, right? So there you go. Moving forward here, we actually have the Agumon, which is basically going to be a discussion on any other X antibody card besides the Gatomon rookie, right? So on play and when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name and 1 X antibody. So that's actually super good because, as far as reveal is concerned, it's not that good. You're only revealing the top 3 cards. In terms of its ability to pick cards up, it's very good. Because you can either pick a Greymon, an Omnimon, and X antibody, which is really good. So I'm here, if I have enough Greymons in my hand, if I have a good line going, I can get literally the Blitz Omnimon, for example, that wins me the game. I can even get the Omnimon X antibody that wins me the game. And if I get lucky and I can pick up the X antibody option, I can actually pick that up as well. So in terms of its reveal ability, it's only revealing 6% of your deck at 3 cards, if I'm not mistaken. But that's not too bad either, because that little cycle can help you, still facilitate through your deck and see more pieces. Next, how many cards you can pick up. So it's basically up to 2 cards that you can pick up here. You can pick up a Digimon with Greymon in its name or Omnimon in its name, and you can pick up an X antibody. And X antibody is a very, very important option in this regard. So I would give this ability to potentially pick up 2 cards a 5 out of 5. That said, in terms of uniqueness and versatility, I think this card is pretty. It's leaning more towards like the uniqueness versus the versatility, because you're strictly speaking Greymons and Omnimons. That said, I mean, if you want to tech this in, I don't know, like a deck that you run X antibody with, sure, but you know there are better searcher cards in that regard. So I think this is leaning more towards uniqueness in a sense that it's mainly going to be the Greymons and the Greymon archetype in general. But in Digimon, the Greymon archetypes, there's like 3 or 4 of them. You've got the Black War Greymon, you've got the War Greymon, and then like, you know, pretty much anything with Greymon. So those 2 are the main ones. So slightly versatile, but mainly unique in my opinion. And last but not least, its impact and importance in the decks that they play. So Agumon X antibody, there's a lot more going on here than just what they're able to pick up for you and how many cards you're able to cycle. One, this can digivolve over any Agumon, regardless of color, which means you get that extra draw in addition to that search, right? Next, in addition to that, it costs nothing to digivolve over another Agumon. And its play effect, its search effect, is also when digivolving. So it's very memory efficient in that regard, which is kind of powerful. So I actually would rate Agumon X antibody as very important. It is of extreme importance, and I would probably run this if you are running Black War Greymon and if you are running, you know, War Greymon X. This is, to me, at least a 5 Dobbies. So I would put this search card at 5 Dobbies, play 4 of it, because of not only is it a body that you can digivolve over other bodies with for free, but when you do digivolve, you can still resolve its on play and searcher effect. So it's not restricted to being hard played, which is very good. In addition to that, it's a draw 2, and one of those cards that you're going to draw directly affect your win condition, especially moving into BT11. So I think that's very good. This card has a lot of future viability, pretty much. I think till BT12, you can still be seeing this card being played as long as Black War Grey X is still being played and, you know, all that stuff. So very good card. And the searchers that are similar to this, like the Agumon X, even Kukuamon, because Kukuamon can still let you pick up Insectoid or Machine and the X antibody option, which is very good. Cards like this, I would rate it as a 5 Dobbies as well. However, Kukuamon, not so much. I would probably put Kukuamon at a 3 Dobbies because you don't necessarily need Kukuamon as much. Like, I haven't really seen people greatly benefit from Kukuamon in Grandis, for example, Grandis Quagamon. That's the exception. But generally, 4 or 5 Dobbies for these types of rookies. Next, we have what is absolutely insane and I love so much. It is the Blaze Memory Boost. This is how I got my store championships, y'all, with Blaze freaking Memory Boost. So 5 cost is very expensive, right? But there's a lot of things going on here. Main effect is revealing the top 6 cards of your deck. So that is more than 10% of your deck that you will be seeing. In addition to that, you may add 2. So it's a 100% add 2 blue flare cards with traits among them from your to your hand. And from among those cards, if you can hard play a Kiraha, which is not only a memory tamer, but it directly works towards the save mechanic of the entire blue flare deck, allowing you to get to your Metal Greymon and your main win condition directly. You can play it without paying its memory cost. So let's do some math here, right? You've got Blazing Memory Boost that you play out. It stays on the board, and its delay effect gains you 2 memory. You get to pick up 2 things with Blue Flare and its traits, and if a Kiraha is there, you get to play a Kiraha. That's 4 very powerful things, effectively for 1 memory with a Kiraha, because you would have played that Kiraha anyway. So if you're gonna play that thing free, to me, this makes Blazing Memory Boost look like a 1 memory card, which is insane for all the things that it does. In addition to that, one thing that makes this card super unique is it in itself is a blue flare. So it can pick itself up off this search. Off this 6 card search, it can pick itself up if you hit nothing. Which means if I don't have a Kiraha, or if I only managed to pick up, you know, 1 blue flare Digimon and this Blaze Memory Boost was there, I can pick up that Digimon, the Blaze Memory Boost, and I'll be able to play Kiraha instead of add Kiraha to my hand. So this actually saves you from having to add Kiraha into your hand if those 3 cards were your only choices. So very good stuff. I really like this card. I think it's super powerful, and it gains you 2 memory as a delay effect, which is huge in, you know, for that Metal Greymon Digicross, because with a complete set, you're only playing Metal Greymon for 3, which is very nice. And, you know, if you're put to 1, Blazing Memory Boost gets you there, 100%. So with all things considered, it's more than a 5 Dobbies in terms of reveal, and it's more than 5 Dobbies in terms of being able to grab cards, because you're grabbing 2 cards of Blue Flare to your hand and playing a Tamer, a 4-cost memory Tamer. Crazy. I think this is a no-brainer, you guys. I am just gonna straight up put Blazing Memory Boost at a 5 Dobbies. All right, next we've got Davis. So everybody loves Davis. Davis. This guy's very good. Memory setting Tamer, and on play reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. So that is a reveal 3, 6%, and add 1 blue and 1 green Digimon. So that is a see 3 things, grab 2 from among them to your hand. So I like that already. It's reveal 3 out of 5, right? You're not seeing as many things. It's ability to pick cards up, you're picking up 2 things, which is very good. To me, that actually puts it at a 4 out of 5. And, you know, Blaze Memory Boost is actually the exception, being at a 5 out of 5. But Davis, 4 out of 5. That said, you have to pick up a blue and a green. If you don't have, you can't pick up 2 blues, you can't pick up 2 greens. You can only pick up 1 blue or 1 green if you have one but not the other. And if you have both, you have to pick both up. So very helpful in its deck in Imperial Dramon, in the Jogris Imperial, which is very good because you can pick up 2 things that will basically, what you really want to see early is like XVmon and Stingmon. And if you're able to pick 2 of those cards with Davis, you're in a very beautiful spot because you are set to 3 memory as well next turn, which means you can, you know, go into the XV, pass turn, etc., and then hard play the Stingmon from a safe 3 guaranteed memory because of Davis. So that is a very good Tamer in that regard. In terms of versatility, it's uniquely catered towards Imperial, but with Axemon being blue and green as well, and with certain cards being blue and green as well, kind of like there's this blue and green synergy that I'm starting to see with the release of more and more cards. Davis will gain more value and more versatility in that regard, right? So I actually think Davis has seen so much play over the course of last year, which is why I want to put Davis easily at a 4 Dobbies. Very good card, do love that a lot. Next, we've got Deadly Axemon. So Deadly Axemon is one of those really good cards as well, but the archetype, the deck itself, not a lot of people, you know, want to give it a chance, and the diehard people swear that they are very successful with the Dark Knightmon archetype, with a Dark Knightmon deck. And, you know, if you've seen so much success with this deck, kudos to you, man. I have my core, I just haven't tested it yet as much as I would like to, because I'm just so... Ooh, there's just so much shiny cardboard that I want to play that I've kind of put this to the side. But that said, we're going to go over it, all right? So Deadly Axe, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 2 cards with Knightmon in their names among them to your hand. How many people tried to play this in Lord Knightmon? Yup. Place the rest to the bottom in any order. Its inheritable effect is really good as well because it gives Knightmon or Bagramon plus 2000 DP, and I think that's really cool. Very nice, kudos. That said, it's a 4 cost to play, so a little bit higher than your typical rookie or typical memory boost, and it's basically the cost of a memory tamer. That said, it is a Digimon on its own, standalone, like Jerry and Agumon, so I think that accounts to certain things. And unlike most Digimon that are searchers, it is a level 4, which means it can immediately digivolve into a level 5 if not taken care of. So that's very good. So from a reveal, it's revealing 8% of your deck. From picking up cards, it picks up 2 cards, which is very good. I think 2 cards is optimal, especially if you're revealing 5 cards, which is very wide selection of things, right? And everything else just gets placed to the bottom in your order, so that's very nice, in whatever order you want. As far as its impact in the deck itself is concerned, I think it's quite important. I would actually, in that regard, give it a 4 stars. Because this gets played out by Dark Knightmon often, and it allows you to see more pieces, calculate, make your plays, draw. And I think that's super good because it helps you plan your next move. That said, its impact is huge, right? So I would actually put Deadly Axe here at a... Ooh. I'd put it at a 4 Dobbies. Reason being is it's also triggered by Pride Memory Boost, which you will see in a minute. And being able to search even more off Pride Memory Boost as a searcher is very, very powerful. You get this huge momentum. It's a very good momentum play. And Deadly Axemon, if it's played by a Dark Knightmon that was deleted, could save you by adding more pieces to your hand. So in that regard alone, I would put it out of 4 Dobbies. Next, we have Dorumon, which was in BT9 or BT7, but mainly used in Alphamon, which is a deck that we don't see as often now, but can still top. On play, reveal the top 3, so not too good. Add 1 card with X antibody in its traits and 1 Koda Domoto. So this immediately finds your memory tamer, which is something that is kind of unique, right? We don't have a lot of Digimon searchers that add memory tamers, so I think that's really good. And while the reveal top 3 isn't that good, when this deck was out, I want to say like 85% of the deck, besides tamers and options, have X antibody in their traits, which means 100% you're going to see this. You're going to be able to grab something. So it's a very efficient card to on play. In addition to that, it's information. So regardless, all of this will give you information with the cards that you see. But its inheritable effect was very powerful. When one of your effects places Digivolution cards under this Digimon, it's gain a memory, right? In terms of the X antibody, the Alphamon deck, the grandfather of X antibody decks, this was a 5 out of 5 for sure. You needed to run this out of 4 of. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. And I would actually put it at a 5 Dobbies in that regard. Because in addition to that, its versatility now with more X antibody versions of like black, in black and red and all these like different combinations of cards and colors, I think you could still see Dorumon being pretty decent. So I would put it at a 5. Also, we're coming out with a metal card for Nats, so put it at a 5. Next, we are going with my favorite card in this entire thing, Gatomon. So Gatomon is pretty expensive as a level 4 to play. It's 5 cost. Well, it's typical, which is 5 cost, but in a deck that runs very little rookies and relies on its on play effect, it feels a little bit expensive. That said, on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 yellow and 1 purple Digimon from among them to your hand, place the rest at the bottom. Your turn. When this Digimon would digivolve into a card with Archangel or Fallen Angel in its traits, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 2. I think this is super important. This secondary effect is what makes this search card way better than what it looks like from just looking at its search. Because you get to pick up a yellow and purple card, so that's 2 grabs for the reveal 3, which is very nice, similar to Dorumon, but you're picking up 2 Digimon. And these Digimon can be Lady Devimon, Anjomon, Magna Anjomon, anything that has Angel or Archangel, etc. In addition to that, when you Digivolve over the Gatomon, so if it stays a turn, you reduce the Digivolution cost of that level 5 from 3 to 1, which makes it very good, right? Because then that facilitates that extra draw that leads to, if you're running the BT2, BT3 Lady Devimon, you get to draw 2 Trash 2. So this accelerates your win condition as you are searching for your pieces, and its end of turn effect is the bread and butter of Mastemon, which is basically end of turn Jogress, right? You may DNA Digivolve this Digimon and become a Mastemon. So you grab 2 things. If you're at 1 memory, you Digivolve one of them, 1 yellow by 1, resolve its effect, then hard play the purple. And then all of a sudden you have Mastemon. So in this one big turn, you could potentially have Mastemon. It's too great for me to not put at a 5 Dobbies, 100%. Because it's also very versatile. The Dan Devimon archetype and all the Devimons in are fallen angels, and they're all triggered by this. They all work by this. So 5 Dobbies for sure. Next, we are going into Huckmon, which is another very good card. This is very difficult. As you see, we are actually pretty much within the 5 and 4 Dobby range, because search cards are very important. It's very hard to find a really bad search card because they're there to add consistency and facilitate the win condition of your deck. But that said, this Huckmon. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 2 cards with Huckmon, Jesmon, or Sistermon in its name, and add them to your hand. Place the rest to the bottom. So Huckmon, in my opinion, is the best rookie searcher in the game. So it's gonna be a 5 Dobby for sure. You know what? I'm actually gonna backtrack this and send the Doru down to a 3 Dobby, because as good as it is, no, I gotta put out a 4 Dobby. It's gonna be a 4 Dobby. Yeah. Huckmon itself, though, is like significantly better than Dorumon in my opinion. So we'll just reverse that. So Huckmon here, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You're adding Huckmon, Savior Huckmon, Bow Huckmon, Jesmon, all that stuff. And you're adding a Sistermon. Sistermon is super important because depending on the Sistermon, you could protect your Huckmons and Jesmons with decoy, etc., all that stuff. And or you could add a blocker to your board state with the right Sistermon, etc. So as far as its reveal, it's a 5 out of 5. As far as its cards that you can pick up, I would actually put it at a 5 out of 5 because it's a 2 draw and it's pretty versatile within the scope of a Jesmon deck. That said, outside the scope of a Jesmon deck, its uniqueness, it falls to a 0. Okay, this is looking less like a 5 Dobbies now that I think about it, because it's not as versatile, and versatility is part of what makes it a 5 Dobby. Now, Blaze Memory Boost is an obvious exception, just because of the sheer fact that it is huge towards the win condition of Blue Flare. This Huckmon is not as huge as Blazing Memory Boost. It's not as huge as Gatomon. In fact, the Agumon is not as huge either. So I'm actually gonna drop this to a 4 as well. Because, you know, if you see your pieces, these rookies aren't actually pivotal to your win condition. Like if you draw well, it's not a big deal. But Blaze Memory Boost you definitely need because of the memory gain. Gatomon you definitely need because it's your Jogress mechanic. Like it's how you can Jogress safely while passing turn and get a huge momentum swing. So Huckmon I think will also fall under 4 Dobbies, but it's like a 4 out of 5 Dobby for me simply because of the fact that it adds a little bit more than just your... You see more cards than what Doru and the Agumon X's and Axe Antibody rookies allow you to see, and it's quite impactful itself. So Huckmon I think will be a 4.5. I didn't put a 0.5, but it'll be in that area. So not bad. Next, we are running Impmon. Oh, I'm biased. Impmon is 100% a 5 Dobbies. All right, but anyways, we're gonna go right into this. So let's read its like when trashed effect, because Beelzemon is very unique in a sense that like cards that have effects that trash from when they're trash from the top of their deck, they do things. So in terms of gathering information and facilitating your win condition, I think no other rookie, undisputed, is better than Impmon. The deck as a whole may not be as powerful into the meta as a lot of things, but this is such a wild card as far as a rookie. This could make or break that one huge turn that you want to do, right? So when this card is trashed from your deck, if it wasn't trashed by itself, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Which means, let's say I have Skull Satamon, I trash 2 and one of these happen to be an Impmon, I'm trashing 3 more, which means I'm actually trashing 5 cards as total. It is a huge significant boon to any other trash effects. It immediately has an impact on every other trash effect you have in your deck. And in purple, trashing is a big thing. It doesn't even just fall under the category of Beelzemon in itself. I've seen some ingenious Beelstar builds that run this simply because it allows you to trash much quicker. And that is where its versatility comes in. In terms of how many cards it reveals, off the charts, right? Like, it's on play, first and foremost, is reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon with Beelzemon in its name, and add a Tamer. So that's an add 2, potentially, and a reveal 4. So the reveal 4 is not as good as a reveal 5, but when you have an effect that allows you to trash 3 more, that in itself is basically like a C7. Like a C7 cards. You're gonna see 7 cards, right? Potentially over the course of just, seeing one of these out, right? When it's trashed, you trash 3. If you have it in your hand and you play it, you reveal 4. So I think this is a must-of this is a must-of at a 4 copies in a Beelzemon deck. So it's highly impactful. In addition to that, it greatly increases the chances of a Beelzemon attacking successfully and not dying in security by adding its DP by 3,000. It's I think 3,000 DP is the highest DP that is added in any rookie in the game as an inheritable effect. So as far as rookies in the game, I think this Impmon is actually one of the best. But when you throw it in a deck like Beelzemon that Beelzemon is a wild card, it's a milling deck, right? So it's hit or miss in terms of how great it actually is into the meta. It's got bad matchups as well, and if you're unlucky with your mills, you could potentially lose. So in that regard, I guess you can see it not being a good thing, but when you have a deck that wants to mill, all you want to do is mill, and Impmon does that. So 100% to me, this is a 5 Dobbies, biased or not. I think it's just way too impactful in the decks that it would play in to not have as a 4 of, and to just not regard it as anything super important. I think this is way better than any other Searcher rookie right now. Next we have Izzy Izumi. So Izzy Izumi is our second searching tamer. And our second searching tamer is pretty good. That said, it's not that good. So it's a reveal 3, and if all the cards are black, you gain a memory. So technically, Izzy will be a 3 cost. How impactful that is debatable, because it's the timing and luck at which you play it that will determine it. Because sometimes you want to put your opponent to 1 with Izzy, and if they all happen to be black, you're never going to do that. You're going to keep turn and put them to 3, That said, it's very good at information gathering, but it doesn't add any cards to your hand. So because of that, I think Izzy is easily a 3 Dobbies. You definitely want to play it, but a lot of decks that play it only have it in 1 or 2 copies. And honestly, that's it, yeah. Next, because it was kind of submitted as well, we have Koda, which is a memory tamer here. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with X antibody in its traits among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom in any order. So reveal 4, add 1 X antibody card. It's pretty standard, right? It's not as good as Davis. It's a memory tamer, but it's not as good as Davis. So because of that, I think it still falls under the category of Izzy. And while, you know, it allows you to pick up any card with X antibody, there are better tamers in the other X antibody decks. Like Black or Greymon has the new one. So it's not, I think it's not good enough to justify being versatile or being thrown into any other deck except Alphamon. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put this at 2 Dobbies. Because even in Alphamon, you guys, Koda did not need to be seen to actually play. Because you have Ryudomon, you have Dorumon, you have Yuji, you have so many things that will not only gain you memory, but allow you to draw more and search, that you didn't actually need to see a memory setter. And being a draw 1, a reveal 4 draw 1 isn't as good as a Davis. I'd put it at 2 Dobbies. Alphamon guys, I know you're probably not going to be fans of that, but I mean, I hope my points made sense. Next, we have another Jesmon related card. Wow, people really love this. Okay, from Master to Disciple, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Huckmon or Sistermon, so it's a or, right? Or Royal Knight as well. Among them to your hand, trash the rest. Then place this card into your battle area. So if you're a good pilot, one thing you could do, well, it's obviously situational, but best case scenario, you're playing this for 2, revealing 3, adding 1 Huckmon and adding 1 Royal Knight, and then trashing the Sistermon so you can play it from trash later through different effects. So that can do 3 things with that reveal 3 if you see them, which is very powerful for 2 memory. In addition to that, its inheritable effect actually allows you to reduce its cost by 1 when you digivolve the turn that you use it, which is very good. Reducing by 1 can mean you keep your turn. It can mean allowing to unsuspend and swing again. And in Jesmon, that is very important because that allows you to play multiple Sistermons, allows you to do a lot of things, right? And now that Jesmon does want to see certain things in trash, this makes it a lot better. Its security effect, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Huckmon or Sistermon in its name, and Royal Knight to your hand. So even in security, it acts as a searcher, which is kind of twice the amount of instances that you'll be able to pull it off, which I think is very good, right? I don't think it's as needed in order to win a match, right? Over the course of a best of 3, I don't think you necessarily need to see this all the time. But if you see it, I think it significantly makes your experience a lot easier. It allows you to find your pieces a lot faster. And if you see multiple copies of this early, you could potentially find your perfect stacks. You could potentially live in raising until you're ready to win, because you can trash Sistermons, you can trash that Ganku, and you can see multiple cards throughout the course of your first couple turns if you have multiple copies of this. If they hit it in security, even, you're able to see more copies, more cards. So I think that double instance that you can trigger it is pretty good. I would probably put this at a 4 Dobbies. No, that said, you don't actually need this to win a game. I've seen people play it without having to win a game, but I think 4 Dobbies is fine. Next, you've got Monitamon. So Monitamon here is a very fun card to use. I like Monitamon. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. So 8%. Add 2 cards with either Nightmon or Deadly Axemon in their names, or with Twilight. So you can grab a bunch of different things potentially, which I think is very nice. Adding 2 is very nice. And in the deck itself, it's quite impactful. That said, I've seen people focus more on other rookies, like Chikrimon, Chumon, and then running like 3 Monitamon, because the Deadly Axe and Pride Memory Boost help a lot better. That said, Monitamon is all right. Like I wouldn't just throw Monitamon under the bus here. So the adding 2 is what really makes this a difficult decision, because if it was add 1, 3 Dobbies, right? But the add 2 makes it difficult. Do you need to see this card to win a game? No, not as much as Deadly Axemon. And I think that's what makes Monitamon a 3 Dobbies. I think that's what makes Monitamon a 3 Dobbies, for sure. All right, next we have Pride Memory Boost. Pride Memory Boost, one of the more unique memory boosts because it actually plays Digimon from what you've revealed. But the caveat of revealing 3 cards, or the effect of revealing 3 cards, is not as good. It actually can whiff quite often at the cost of a cheap level 4. So you're paying 4 memory to potentially play a 4 cost or more level 4, right? To play a 4 cost level 4. But that said, it just doesn't hit me better than a Deadly Axe, right? Because if you've got Pride Memory Boost and a Deadly Axe in your hand, I would probably rather play the Deadly Axe because that guarantees me a draw 2 and a body. Because then I could, like, if I had something in Raising, I could immediately go in a Dark Nightmon. You can't necessarily do that with Pride, apart from gaining the 2 memory to go into the Crossheart, or to the Digicross Dark Nightmon versus like the other Dark Nightmon with a Skull Knight combo, etc. And I've seen this whiff a lot. Like, it's hard to whiff with Deadly Axe because of the Reveal 5, but with Pride Memory Boost, you could miss your target quite a bit. So I would actually put this in the 3 Dobby. Actually, you don't need to win. You don't need this card to win. So I would put it in the 2 Dobby. Yeah, it's not that impactful. At least based on my experience. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. It's fine. It's totally cool. It's fine. Okay. That said, we're going to move towards the last 3 cards. So here we have the Purple Memory Boost. So Purple Memory Boost, generically speaking, I'm just going to go over it like we're going through all the Memory Boosts. Key advantages. Revealing 4, 8%. Very good. Disadvantage versus other cards that we've seen, only grab 1 card. Versatility advantage. Grab any Digimon of the same color. That also includes 2 color Digimon. So huge versatility. That said, its delay effect is only gain 2 memory, which could be pretty important, right? Could be pretty important. In terms of its impact in any deck or in a specific deck, it's pretty mid, right? Because you don't necessarily need it to win a game. You really need it just to find that missing piece. More often than not, I'm playing Memory Boost to find a missing piece. Not more so the 2 memory, not more so anything else. Like, it acts as a pseudo rookie for me. And, you know, there are better searcher rookies than this card, right? And it's not a Digimon, so if you see this late game and you can't just drop a body and search things, it's a little bit unfortunate because this can't swing on the next turn, you know what I mean? And if it were to gain memory to drop something, it would have Summoning Sickness, most likely. So in terms of its versatility, it's quite high. In terms of its reveal, it's decent. In terms of what it grabs, it's average. In terms of its impact to a game state, to your ability to win, it's average. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. And in a lot of purple decks that are played now to kind of counter the meta, it kind of whiffs often. So as it stands, I'd put it at 3 Dobbies. Next, we have TK, which is literally, in my opinion, the best searcher tamer in the game right now. This is going to be a 4 or a 5 Dobby for sure. It's a memory setter, so you get to go to 3, and then you look at your security stack, reveal 1 card in it, add it to your hand, and if the card is yellow, recover +1. So TK, because of its wording where you can reveal a card from your security stack and it doesn't have to be yellow, and you can take anything. It literally just says add 1 card. So because of that, versatility is at an all-time high. Information, all-time high. You get to see what's in your security stack, whatever threats are there, whatever pieces you might be missing, you see it. Being able to grab a piece from your security is absolutely uniquely yellow, in my opinion, or what I've seen and in my experience, but TK takes the cake because it doesn't have a specific thing that you need to grab. In addition to that, memory setter. In addition to that, if you grabbed a yellow card, which you will likely do because this is played usually in yellow decks, recover +1. Versatility, out of this world. It can be played in any yellow deck, and it is played in almost all yellow purple decks and any other deck that include yellow in it. So in the poop deck, you kind of have to play TK to grab missing pieces, etc. And I 100% think TK is easily a 5 Dobbies here. So very good. And last but not least, because yellow hybrid, Zoe or Emoto. Security, play this card without paying its memory cost. Sure, so it's like every other tamer, which is awesome. On play, you may search your security card for 1 card with a hybrid or 10 warriors. and then reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand. If you add a card to your hand, recover +1. So this is like a 3-cost TK specifically catered to hybrid Digimon. So it's cool because it can grab any color like TK, but it can only grab hybrid. So its versatility is quite restricted. In decks that it is played currently, it is absolutely crucial, I think, to have this in yellow hybrid, and it is pretty much the only deck that you really see this in. But you definitely need it. People usually run this in a 3 of or a 4 of. But its impact is not as high as a TK, even at TK being played at a 1 or a 2 of. Because it doesn't provide the guaranteed 3 memory per turn. It doesn't allow you to grab other cards that you might want to remove from your security to recover. Because Zoe doesn't allow you to grab anything that isn't a hybrid or 10 warrior, because you have to reveal it to your opponent, right? In order to get the card to your hand and a recover. So it's kind of a semi-search in that regard, where you have a limited pool of cards that you can search from unless you're recovering way before you play Zoe. So I would actually, you know, with the exception of how good it or how important it is in yellow hybrid, I would actually put her at a 3 Dobbies as a searcher overall. So that is pretty much my first ever tier list, guys. It is about some of the better searchers in the game and some of the searchers that have been submitted by y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any searchers that I missed and you want to discuss, let me know in the comments below, because I do want to see them. That said, I know we saw 2 purple at the top and Blazing at the top. I think Blazing and TK are guaranteed 5 Dobbies. The Impmon and Gato, they're just so central to the deck that I think they also need to be 5 Dobbies. With regards to the other cards below that, I've seen the decks that they're played in win without necessarily needing these cards on the board at any period of time. Like, if you're high rolling, you don't need like Davis, Deadly Axe, Doru, Agu, Huck. You don't absolutely need these cards. But if you're even if you're high rolling, you absolutely need Gatomon, TK. Well, TK is the exception. TK and Blazing Memory Boost is an exception. They're just really good searchers. But Gato and Impmon, in my opinion, you absolutely need them, even if you're high rolling, which is what separated the 4s from the 5s. The 3s and 2s, iffy, right? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was fun, and I'll do more tier lists in the future. This was like my very first one, so go easy on me. Bye.